A couple of months ago in this video here, I tried out some crochet stitches that I had never worked with before. And honestly, that video turned out to be like a lot more enjoyable than I thought it would. So I figured, why not do it again? And I don't even have to go searching for stitches because a lot of you were kind enough to put stitch suggestions down in the comments. So today's video is kind of going to be like a viewer suggested video in that I am trying out stitches that you have all suggested to me. Speaking of which, I'm considering turning this into like a bit of a mini series that I revisit just every now and then. So if you have any other stitch suggestions, please feel free to put those down in the comments as well. Just anything that you personally like or you think I might find interesting, anything even that's sort of like a bit wacky and wild and out there. I've seen some of those pictures as I was like perusing YouTube. So basically just anything you think of that, you think I'd like to try, just chuck that down there and I will keep a running tally of all the stitches. All right, now as I get set up here, I do want to talk about the previous stitches. I think it was 3 or 4 of them. I can't remember off the top of my head. It might have been 3. For 3 of those stitches that I learned in that previous video, I do have definitive plans to use them in projects. It's just a matter of actually getting around to making those projects. And I kind of want to do like the same thing for any stitches that I learn going forward. For the majority of them, I don't just want to use them once and then forget about them. I do want to figure out a way to like include and incorporate them into projects. It doesn't have to be like all 5 that I do in the video, but the majority of them, I would like to get some use out of them. So as I said from that previous one, there's definitely some, ideas kicking around back here, but yeah, it's just a matter of taking them from idea to project, which unfortunately takes time. Okay, I think we are good to go. So as I mentioned, all these 5 stitches that I have lined up for us today are suggestions from you guys, so thank you for that. The first one that we're going to kick things off with is called the Suzette stitch. And just as a bit of a disclaimer, most of these stitches I picked out because even if I recognize the name of the stitch, I have no idea about these stitches beyond that. So it's completely new to me. So let's check out the Suzette stitch here. Let's go. And just while I remember, I'm just going to pause the tutorial for a second. Any of the tutorials that I use throughout this video, they will all be linked down in the description as well. So you can go and check them out for yourself if you want to. All right, back to the tutorial. First of all, let's make sure I'm recording because I have a terrible track record with that. I know I touch the screen, but I don't touch it hard enough to like initiate the recording most of the time. But I can see the little red light this time and we're good to go. So for the Suzette stitch, we apparently have to start off with a chain that is in multiples of 2. Now for these test swatches here, I'm going to do the same as what I did in my original video, and I'm going to make them roughly, Tilly, could you please stop making noise? I'm going to make them roughly a 10 by 10 square. Like depending on the stitch, it might not be that exact, but sort of roughly about that size. Just something I think that is small enough that it's not going to take me forever to complete it, but large enough that I get a decent feel for the stitch. Okay, so we're going to go 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have our 10 stitches. Let us consult the tutorial again. All right, so I need to single crochet back down across my chain for row number 1. However, they didn't mention in the tutorial whether I need to chain an additional one and maintain my 10 stitches, or if I just chain my 10, my multiple of 2, and start working in the second chain in the hook from there. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I want to know if I need to be working, my actual like working stitches are an even number or an odd number. Because I don't know about the turning chain yet. That wasn't mentioned. Maybe I just count the stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so he appears to have like 9 stitches in the first row. All right, so we'll just single crochet 9 back down the chain. And 9. Okay. what is in store for row number 2. Okay, so in the first stitch we are single crochet, double crochet in the same stitch. So for this first row, we are putting a single crochet and a double crochet in the same stitch. We skip the next stitch, but then we do the same thing in the stitch after that. And it's that pattern that we repeat down our work. So single, double, skip, and double. You know what this kind of reminds me of? There was one stitch, was it the lemon peel stitch that we did in the first one that used single crochet and double crochet? But it definitely wasn't in the same stitch. I think we just repeated one single crochet, one double crochet down the chain. So it's kind of similar, but maybe it'll sort of differentiate itself as we go on. Okay, well, I skipped a little bit ahead there. I'm not supposed to double crochet in the last stitch, so just one single crochet there. There we go. Easy enough to fix. I wonder if in row number 3 that we work in the in-between spaces, or maybe we're just skipping stitches again. Don't assume, Lee, just watch the bloody tutorial. Okay, so we are literally just repeating what we did for row 2 for row 3. So I'm going to start with a single and then a double in the same stitch. And I skip you and I do the same thing in here, and we're just going to continue that down the row. And then these are my last 2 stitches. I am wondering if we finish on just a single crochet again rather than the single and the double, but I will actually watch the tutorial this time and not jump ahead. All right, so for the remaining rows that I'm going to do, what am I up to 4? So for the next 6, I just need to basically repeat this one row over and over. It's a 1 row repeat. So I'm going to chain, turn, and like so. We're skip. Now, they did mention at the very start of this video, I think there was a specific, that's the word, specific way to finish off. So I am going to crochet myself up to row 9, and then my row number 10, I'm going to use that as the finishing off row that was mentioned. Okay, so there is my 9 rows of the Suzette stitch. Let's see how we finish this off. If I remember the diagram correctly, I think we just single crocheted our way across, but I am going to watch the tutorial. Don't assume things. All right, so yeah, we're literally just going to single crochet. I'm stumbling over my words so much today. All right, we're going to single crochet. I almost did it again. Single crochet our way across. I'm going to have fun editing this one. All the million takes I'll have to do while I'm stuttering and stumbling over my words. Okay. And there we go. Almost 2 stitches to go. Done. Okay, and yeah, from what I remember, this is very similar to the lemon peel stitch, which is no surprise. We are using the same combination of stitches in a very similar way. But from what I remember of the lemon peel swatch I did, this one actually feels a bit thicker, a bit sturdier, but I am just going off memory here. I was planning to get my original swatches out, but I can't seem to find them. I put them away in a little, like a bag, so I could keep them for later use. I don't know where that bag has ended up, so unfortunately I can't compare directly to the one I did last time, but maybe in a future video, if we continue this series, that's something we'll be able to do. But yeah, I do like that, and I think I mentioned in the last video too, one of the things I really love about crochet is that you can take just a couple of basic stitches, and just depending on the order in which you use them, where you place them, you can create a whole bunch of really unique and interesting textures. It's just, yeah, something so simple can make something quite a bit more complex. I love it. But that is the Suzette stitch. I do like that one. And if I think I was going to use the lemon peel stitch for, I think it was a jacket. But if this is a little bit sturdier, perhaps I can use this instead. So we're going to set you aside for now. And then we're going to turn our attention to stitch number 2. And stitch number 2 is going to be the star stitch, which again, I don't know anything about this stitch, but I'm hoping that the name implies that the stitch looks like little stars. That would be really cool. But let's hop straight into the tutorial. And once again, they're all down in the description. So if we're going to chain in multiples of 2 plus 1, I'm going to do the same thing here. Well, I'm going to do a similar thing here as I did for the previous one. I'm going to chain 10, but plus 1, 11. And then how do we start off for row 1? So from the tutorial, it looks like our teacher here today is working into there's a little bug, is working into the back bump of the chain. I don't know if that's a prerequisite, because I know some people like to start off their chain by working into the back bump, but because I don't know, I just want to copy what's being done on the tutorial. So I'm going to work into the back bump. We need to work into the back bump, pull up a loop. Bug, can you get away from my face, please? We're going to work into the back bump of the next 4 chains. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump up to my 5mm hook for now. So let's start that again. I always hate working into the back bump just from a chain, because the chain is just, it feels so flimsy and unstable that, as you can see, I usually have issues with it. Get in there, please. Come on. Come on, right in there. I think I may have made a mistake already. We're supposed to have 6 loops on the hook. I've only got 5, but I did work through 4 stitches, didn't I? Were we supposed to yarn over first, perhaps? All right, let me go back. Okay. That was just me being a bit of an idiot. So she said, or she did 1 stitch and then said work through the next 4 chains. I just heard work through 4 chains. So my bad. 1, and 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now I have the correct number of loops on my hook. Now pulling through all 6 loops.
You've created your star. Now chain 1.
Chain 1. So we've got to go into the center of the star stitch, yarn over and pull through. And then, so you want to go in the last loop of the previous star, which is this little guy here. Then get my hook in there. Okay. There we go, pull up. Then where we're going next. Okay, so the last chain of the previous star, which is here. So we're going in there, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so we're going to go the next 2, which is 1 and 2. All right, I think given how many stitches or chains we have left here, I might be seeing a pattern emerging, but no skipping ahead. And we're chaining 1.
This forms the eye of the star.
And I'm guessing we just repeat what we did previously. So the first stitch went into the center. The next stitch went into the loop, or the last loop. Get in there. I might have to loosen my tension a bit. My tension tends to be like on the tighter side anyway, just because I'm used to crocheting amigurumi and I usually crochet that with tighter tension. What am I doing? Hang on. No, concentrate, Lee. Stop rambling. All right, I just want to be pulling up loops. I'm not single crocheting. So we're going to go in, pull up a loop, go in, pull up a loop, go in, pull up a loop, and then I want to go across the next 2. Did I chain the wrong amount? Because that leaves me with one little chain, which doesn't seem correct. And looking at the tutorial, she doesn't have any chains left over. So let's just see what she says anyway. What I might do is frog my work for the 4th time and start that again. But I might do it a little bit longer because it looks like the 10 or 11 chains only gets me about 3 stars across. So I might want to do a few more than that, even if I don't make the piece or the swatch as tall as I normally would. I'm also going to try, and this wasn't in the tutorial, but I just want to try it for my own sake, working into the back loop rather than the back bum. All right, it's looking like this is going to work out because I'm on my second last little star and I've only got the 2 chains left. Perhaps in the first one I either miscounted or because I was working the back bumps and I'm just not accustomed to that, maybe I accidentally skipped a stitch or, worked into a stitch twice, something like that. But at least here I have successfully reached the end of the row with no spare stitches remaining. And that, and in there, and oh no, hang on, maybe I spoke too soon because I needed 2 stitches to, hang on, let's go back a little bit. All right, no, that's okay, that was just me skipping ahead. I did work into those, so we should have a half finished star. Okay, sorry, crisis averted. That was just my idiocy again. False alarm. Finish on a half double crochet. There we go. Okay, how do we crochet row 2? So we just need to increase or work 2 single crochet into the eye of each star all the way along. And my assumption, I know I said before I shouldn't assume, but I'm going to. But my assumption would be then we chain and turn our work and work star stitches like we did in row 1 back across the row for row 3. But I will see if that is correct in a moment. So the second chain from the hook, she's saying the front strand. Is that the front loop? Because I'll be honest, I've never heard of a section of a crochet stitch referred to as the strand before, and I'm not saying that's not the case. It's just something that I haven't heard. So I don't know if she means the front loop, but that's what I'm going to try, because we go pull a stitch through the front loop and then it's through the back loop, but that doesn't look right. Let me zoom in a little bit. I think it might be that one, and then we're going to pull through that as well. Okay. I don't know if I've gone into the right section there. Okay, so hopefully I did work into the correct strand at the start of this row, because I do have the correct amount of stitches. I've worked into all of them. I'm hoping also we finish off the same way we did for row 1, which was just a half double crochet. And then my guess would be then we repeat row 2 again with just the increases across. I think I'm going to leave, I've just got to finish off my row of just single crochet, but I'm going to leave this one here for now, just because I would like to do more, but I've got a couple of other stitches that I want to crochet, and my hands have been a real pain in the ass lately. The arthritis is slowly getting worse, so I just have to manage that carefully. I think it's just been the change in the weather we've had recently. It makes it flare up a little bit. So I would like to do the other stitches rather than, spend the bulk of my time on one stitch. But that's pretty cool. I like that. I'm going to save further thoughts until the end of the video. I might go over all There's that stumbling over the words thing again. But I'll save my further thoughts until the end of the video, and I'll do that for all the stitches. So let's chop you. But no, I like that. I can definitely see why people would want to make blankets and stuff out of this one. So I'm going to pop you over there with the first one. The one thing with that tutorial was that I got sort of tripped up by the strand when you had to work under the front and the back strand of the first chain before you started your stars in rows 3, 5 and onwards. That could simply be down to my ignorance. I've just never heard strand used in like the context of a crochet stitch before. Like post, loop, yeah, I've heard back bump, I've heard all those, but just not strand. So yeah, it's just perhaps a term I haven't come across before. Let me know if you've heard that before, like in relation to crochet stitches. It's just, yeah, something I've never come across. But now that we've done stitch number 2, we can move on to stitch number 3. And the third stitch that we're going to try today is the basket weave stitch. And I'm actually really glad that this one came up in the comments of that previous video, because when I was sort of planning that video and putting it together, making a list of the stitches that I wanted to try, I was debating between the waffle stitch and the basket weave stitch. And in the end, I went with the waffle stitch. But yeah, this one was already on my list to begin with, so I am glad it popped up in the comments. And today, we get to give it a go. So let's set up once more, hit record, go. All right, how do we crochet ourselves the basket weave stitch? The original chain must be multiples of 8 plus 3, so it's not too big. I think I'm going to go with, we'll go 24 plus 3, 27. 5, 26 and 27. Okay, next. So row 1, pretty straightforward. We're just double crocheting our way all the way across. All right, we have reached the end. How do we crochet row 2? Chain 2, turn. All right, double crochet.
Now, around the next 4
Okay, so I did 4 front post double crochet. Now I have to do 4 back post double crochet. And with the back post, I always get confused which way you put your hook around the post, because at front post crochet, like I use that like semi-regularly, like, well, even semi-regularly is probably not quite right, but I use it occasionally. But the back post double crochet, that's something I use very rarely. So like I always have to stop and think for a second, which way do I maneuver my hook? But I'm sure the tutorial will show us. So we're coming from behind our work. It feels very awkward because I don't use it very often. So we want 4 front post again. So I will need to repeat front post and back post again, just because the chain I made ended up longer than the one that was featured in the tutorial. So I'm going to repeat 4 front post. Now, how do I finish this off? All right, so we want to work double crochet into the top of the chain.
And that completes row 2.
Okay, I think we're just repeating what we did, but I think I worked my first double crochet into the wrong stitch. So if I put that, I think it's supposed to go there. For the first 2 of the basket weave rows, which is 2 and which is technically rows 2 and 3, we started with front post single crochet and then alternated between front post, back post, front post, back post. But this time we're starting with back post. And I'm guessing the row after that we do back post as well, because that's going to create this lined effect, which I'm assuming gives the stitch its name, the basket weave. So let's still watch the tutorial though. All right, so we're doing back post single, not single, double crochets. For row 5, I have to repeat the same thing again. So the first 2 basket weave rows, so that was row 2 and 3, started with the front post. For rows 4 and 5, I got to start with the back post. And from that point, we just alternate those two. So I'm repeating rows 2 to 5 over and over again, which is like fairly simple. Like if you can double crochet, if you can work around both the front and back post, like you'd be able to do this no problem. Okay, and that is the basket weave stitch all done. I did jump ahead a little bit in the video, and it doesn't look like there's any specific way you need to finish off, like you don't finish with a row of single crochet or double crochet or anything like that. But yeah, there we go. Which means it is time to move on to stitch number 4. I knew that off the top of my head. And stitch number 4 is the zigzag spike puff stitch. So, I don't know, we're combining like 3 different kinds of stitches here, but whatever the case, when I first saw the image of this one, I was like, that looks cool, I want to do that one. And so, I will. Okay, so we're doing a multiple of 2 for this chain as well, and the tutorial specified they're doing 22 chains, so I'm just going to do the same thing. So we're just going to single crochet down the chain, but then we're changing colour on the final stitch. Alright, so we're going to work a puff stitch. Here's the thing, right? Within the triad of like popcorn, puff, and bobble stitch, I am 100% confident in my ability to do a popcorn stitch because I use them on the regular. But when it comes to puff and bobble, I tend to like get them confused a little bit because I use them so rarely. So I know how to crochet them. I just always get mixed up which one is which. But like I think the tutorial is going to provide how to do the puff stitch anyway. Need to chain 1 at the end of this puff stitch. I'm going to skip 1 and I'm going to puff stitch into here again. So like now that I've done it, I remember, yes, that the puff stitch you yarn over, pull through 3 times, have 7 loops on your hook, and then you pull through all 7 loops. It just takes me that second to like differentiate between the puff and the bobble. And I'm assuming chain 1 at the end of that. Alright, so I just want to repeat the skip stitch and puff stitch all the way down. And then our teacher for this stitch did say to finish with a single crochet. But I want to actually get to the end before I jump that far ahead. Alrighty, so that is my last, well, it will be my last puff when I can bloody finish it. There we go. That is my last puff. I have 1 stitch left on the end here. I'm hoping that is correct because I single crochet into that.
Across at the end of row 2, you'll have 1 stitch remaining, so you'll puff stitch, chain 1, and single crochet into this final stitch.
Yep, I single crochet in there.
You're also going to switch to your color B, so yarn over, insert your hook, or sorry, your color C, drop a loop.
Alright, so we need a 3rd color. Alright, single crochet.
And chain 1.
Chain 1. Alright, so we're just puff stitching our way, nope, that's not how you do a puff stitch. We're just puff stitching our way across, but we are working into the skipped stitches of the previous row and skipping the puff stitches we did. Okay, so there is my row complete. I think I've got the gist of it now. The tutorial, I let that play ahead a little bit as I was crocheting this, and there doesn't seem to be any specific way to finish off. You just, do the usual finish off when you're done. So I'm going to crochet this for a few more rows and then bring you guys back. So we need to swap to, I think it was the yellow next. There we go. Honestly, I could keep going with this one. I said I'd leave my thoughts to the end. That's what I'm going to do. But yeah, suffice to say, I like it so far. So I'm going to stop there for now. So let's finish you off. And we'll pop you over here with the rest. And then to finish us off today, our very last stitch is one that it intrigues me, because when I was reading the comments under the last video, it was mentioned that this stitch, this particular one I'm going to do now, it was nice but kind of fiddly. So I was a little bit intrigued. And that stitch is called the Catherine's Wheel stitch. I have no idea what I'm in for at the moment, but it does look really cool. It almost looks like fireworks or starbursts, something like that. All right, so for this chain, we need a multiple of 10 plus 7. The tutorial said to chain 37, but I think I'm going to do 27, just because, as I mentioned, I'm getting a little bit of hand pain, and as much as I liked doing this stitch, definitely didn't help that. So we're just going to make this a little bit smaller than the tutorial. 25, 26, and 27. Okay, let's go. All right, so we're single crocheting twice, 1 and 2. Then we're skipping the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the next one we're placing 7 double crochet all in the same chain. And 7. Okay, and is that what we're going to repeat down the chain? So this time we skip 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're doing 3 single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so I'm at the end because I did less chains to begin with than the tutorial did. So I need to skip 3 and then do 4 double crochet in the last chain. Okay. Alright, so she changed colour. I may as well do that too, just so we're following the tutorial as accurately as possible. So I'm going to bring in the blue. Chain that, and then we're going to chain 1, and turn 2 single crochet for row 2, chain 3, 1,
For the next
2.
7 stitches, we're going to do a double crochet 7 together.
Bloody hell, I think the most I've ever done is like double crochet 4 together. So we're gonna go in, and I think we do this, we just don't finish the double crochet. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I think we just pull through all the loops on our hook. Okay, yarn over, and we're going to pull through all of you little dudes here. So apparently in the what was referred to as the standard Catherine wheel pattern, you're supposed to chain 3, but in doing so you end up with a bit of a gap. So we're going to learn a technique here that apparently reduces that. So we're going to chain 1 to begin with. All right, so you want to slip stitch into the side of this double crochet that we did here, or the last double crochet together. So slip stitch there, and then into the base. All right, well that's easy enough. Follow that with 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and my guess would be we double crochet 7 together again,
Chain 3.
or chain 3, one or the other.
7 stitches, make a double crochet 7 together.
I wasn't that far off, so we're going to pause that. So 1. All right, so again, because my piece is a little bit shorter, I don't think I need to do the full one here, so I need to see what happens at the end of the row. 1, 2, and 3, but then I chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Maybe I double crochet 4 together because I did 4 double crochet at the end of the last row. So from here, I imagine we sort of repeat what we've been doing and just keep creating like the wheels in the, like the divot, I'm going to call it the divot of the previous row. Like it's a bit fiddly, I'll give you that, but I don't think it's quite as fiddly as I was like picturing in my head. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn. I want to skip ahead and just see like if there is a specific thing you need to do in the last row to finish off. So you just repeat, as she just said, rows 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I'm going to leave that one there for now because I'm just getting a little bit sore. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that. And yeah, it didn't turn out to be quite as fiddly as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I think we had a rather successful day today. Let's check out all of our pieces. So that was the Catherine's wheel. You know what? Maybe I should put this back on so you guys can get a better view. All right, so that was the Catherine's wheel that we just finished. Very nice. Then we have the, what was that called? The zigzag spike puff stitch. Long name, but very nice too. And then we have the basket weave. Then that was just the star. And then that was the Suzette stitch. Not a bad day's work. I think in the last video I ranked them from like my favorite to least favorite or something to that effect. So we might do the same thing here. The problem with doing like that is like I enjoy working on all these stitches. They all have their own unique appeal. Like the Suzette stitch, that is quite similar to what I think was a lemon peel stitch from the last one. But as I said, it feels quite a bit thicker. So it's probably useful for something, I don't know, if you want to make something a little bit sturdier like that. The star stitch is nice. I mean, compared to the others I've made, it is a little bit bland, but that's only in comparison to those other stitches. I quite like the texture it produces. But speaking of texture, I really like the texture of the basket weave. And it seems to have quite a bit of a stretch in it too. Is that supposed to be a feature of the basket weave? As I was doing in the last video too, as I'm crocheting these, I'm kind of trying to think of applications for which I could use them. But no, the basket weave texture is just really, really nice. I like that. The name is well deserved. Then there was the zigzag puff stitch. I'll be upfront with you guys. I think this one is my favorite, by far my favorite. It's kind of funky. It's just cool and funky. I like it. And it is quite thick. So I'm wondering if you'd make like a jacket from that. I would absolutely wear a jacket made from a stitch like this. So future project perhaps, but no, I like that. And then there is the Catherine's wheel, which I literally just finished. I wish I could do more of it, but I'm just not like willing to push it at the moment. I want to make sure I'm able to crochet other projects as well. I do like this one as well. It's just an interesting pattern. This one though, despite the fact that I do like it, I don't think I would really use it for anything. It's definitely good knowledge to have like in your back pocket if I ever need something that requires a specific pattern like this, but off the top of my head I can't think of anything. So if I was going to rank all these stitches, I think I would probably go, we'll go like least favorite to most favorite, but I don't even like saying least favorite because it's just like, I don't know, I feel like I'm discriminating against the stitches. It's not fair. I like them all. But probably I'll put the Suzette at number 5 simply because it is so similar to the lemon peel stitch that I have done before. At number 4, I think we will go the star stitch because, like as I said, when compared to the other ones I've done, it's not quite as interesting, which is not a fault of the stitch. The stitch itself is fine, but it just had the bad luck of being placed in a category with these other 3 as well. I think the third, like the middle one, would have to be the Catherine's wheel stitch. I liked it, but it's just not one that I can foresee myself using unless one day I made like an entirely Catherine's wheel blanket or something like that. But I am glad that I crocheted it. Then, yeah, I have to do it. So the basket weave stitch is going to be my second favorite because I really do enjoy that texture. I'm definitely going to try and think of a project for which I can use this. And then my favorite of today was the zigzag puff stitch. That is just so damn cool. I really like that. I definitely have to, make a project for myself using this stitch. And also find the right color combination. I mean, these colors don't actually look bad for just scrap that I pulled out of the bag. But no, if I was going to make myself a proper, quote unquote, proper project, I'll have to really like dial in the color scheme. But no, that is definitely my favorite from today. As I said before, I kind of wish I remembered where I put the original stitches because I would like to compare what I did last time to what I've done here today. But I think it just might be like stashed over there somewhere where we've just got a bunch of miscellaneous crap at the moment that we're slowly sorting through. So it's hiding from me at the moment. Hopefully it hasn't ended up in the black hole where a couple of my Pokemon Cal squares are and a few other things that I've lost and I haven't been able to locate yet. All I can really do is hope that they turn up. And what we need to do now, and I can't think of a better way to segue into it, is... And today's featured creator on the hookup is Gretchen, and she says, I taught myself how to crochet during the COVID lockdown. Classes online were so boring that I wanted something to do. Since that time, I have made so many different creations and I'm now trying to get my own business started since I love to do crochet. That's definitely been a running theme I've noticed with the hookup. A lot of people did start crocheting during the COVID lockdown. And also a lot of people that I've heard from have said that their online classes were kind of boring. So that seems to track with a lot of people's experience as well. If you would like to check out all of Gretchen's links, they will be down in the description, and so will a link to the hookup form if you'd like to apply for yourself. I would love to hear from you guys in this one for 2 separate things. Number 1, which was your favorite stitch of the day? And bloody hell. And number 2, while I grab this swatch off the floor. And number 2 is if you have a interesting, useful, etc., all the adjectives stitch that you like or that you think I would enjoy, please pop that down in the comments because I would like to keep a list of all these stitches. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, we might turn this into a bit of a mini series. I am always eager to learn new things. The next problem though is taking those new things that I've learned and trying to implement them somehow. I still haven't gotten around to the projects that I wanted to do with the stitches I learned in the first video. So perhaps I might try and check those off the list before I make projects with any of these stitches. And we'll do all of that before I do another testing out new or trying new crochet stitches video. I definitely got plenty to occupy myself with, but the mind is willing, the body is willing too. It's just not entirely able all the time. So we'll have to wait for that to catch up, to get a bit better. But that doesn't mean I can't think about these projects that I can crochet in the future. So thank you all for watching today. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Share it if you think it's worth sharing, and I will see you in the next one.